The HMG Emplacement, not to be confused with a heavy machine gun, is a stationary but devastating tool of lead-spewing destruction. Unfortunately, during my tour to liberate the Trigon sector, I've seldomly seen divers use the HMG Emplacement, even with its increased effectiveness against the Automatons. Today, I wish to shine a light on this slept-on stratagem and encourage my fellow divers to pick the HMG against the machine menace. Before we begin, note that this stratagem was tested against the bots, and not all points here will be applicable to the Terminants. Simply put, this stratagem can take on almost every enemy type of the Automatons. It does well against rank-and-file troopers, striders, berserkers, all of Devastators, including stunning machine gun Devastator, making him lose his aim and lift up his shield. It shreds through hulks as long as you aim for its eye, and even takes out gunships with ease, allowing you to clear the skies. Truly, all you have to look out for are the tanks and factory striders, but even with factory striders, if you aim for the red dot on its faceplate or the hatch in its belly, you can hold your own. For me, tanks are the biggest threat, because you can't do any damage unless you can see their heat sink, but overall the HMG can take on 90% of the automaton cast with ease. In a team setting, the HMG will primarily cover the other divers from the rank and file, while the other divers take on tanks and other super heavy opposition. Pairing nicely with its versatility, the sheer quantity of the ammunition afforded to a single Helldiver makes it possible to take on whole waves of reinforcements. Let's take a moment and ponder. How many airstrikes, orbitals, and rockets will it cost your team to take one reinforcement wave at level 8, 9, or 10? By the time you reach the second or third objective, many of your critical stratagems are on cooldown, and oh look, another bot dropped on its way. The HMG does more than just be a great individual stratagem. It saves the Helldivers other flexible stratagems that will be necessary during the mission. It allows flexibility to use rockets and other stratagems on objectives, knowing that you can handle 90% of the bot cast with the HMG emplacement alone. While this stratagem grants flexibility to other stratagems, the HMG emplacement is a static gun position. Some might say that because you can't move, it's not a pro but a con. I disagree. You see, ragdolling has been single-handedly one of the most infuriating things in the game. In small part, this poor excuse of a rust bucket has raised my blood pressure higher than I'd like to disclose. Fortunately, the HMG offers some reprieve. Once you are mounted, rockets can no longer ragdoll you across the plains of Africa, for your white-knuckled death grip is no match for a highly explosive warhead. Simply put, no ragdolling is all I really need to choose the stratagem. As much as I love to sing the praises of the HMG, it has its fair share of flaws. The first being positioning. Everything good I stated above is contingent on you placing the HMG in a place where it can be effective. Line of sight is critical, because if you can't see him, well, you can't shoot him. So be on the lookout for high ground or hilltops overlooking enemy positions. As I stated before, you are effective against 90% of the automaton cast en masse, but your Achilles heel will be tanks and sniping turret guns from halfway across the map. A few quick tips before I head out. If you see a flare calling in for a bot drop, don't panic. You have enough time to call in your HMG emplacement before the first batch of bots land on your position. Look for suitable high ground, but if you can't find any fast, then just place your emplacement right outside the flare. Any troops that they bring will be annihilated in the first drop, and the space you create for your team will allow them to hopefully focus on the tanks and the walkers. Pay extra attention to the hulks, the rocket devastators, and berserkers, because they are the few enemy infantry units that can push your position and really dampen the support of your backline. Don't forget, you depend on your backline to take out the tanks before they get to you. So look out for your fellow divers, and they will look out for you. That's all I got. Hope you found this guide helpful. Best of luck to all the divers on the front lines.